What is going on, everyone? It's Chris, aka the Nerd Dad, and today we're going to be looking at the 89 Sabers OWK1 distributed by CCsabers. Let's check it out. What is going on, you guys, and welcome back to another lightsaber review. If this is your first time visiting the channel, we talk about all things nerdy, especially Star Wars. So if you guys have a few minutes to spare, grab a drink and a snack, and let's check it out. Alright, you guys, so this is the OWK1. This is the Obi-Wan Kenobi lightsaber that he used in Star Wars The Phantom Menace. Now, it is a beautiful lightsaber, but is by no means accurate to the actual movie. It's very, very close, but there are some issues with it. There are some things that are not accurate at all. The great thing about it is 89 Sabers does provide an extra piece for the pommel to make it a little bit more accurate to Attack of the Clones. The Phantom Menace one actually has these little cubes located in the bottom with little holes in it. That's actually what he had in the Phantom Menace. But there are some slight differences when it comes to the Attack of the Clones and the Phantom Menace. They are noticeable if you had both of them next to each other, but overall it is still a beautiful lightsaber. It looks just like it, so it's close enough. I'm happy with it. Normally I'm very picky when it comes to accurate lightsabers, but for something like this, when they both look so similar to each other, it's fine. It's fine. I like it. It's part of my collection. Having this lightsaber actually made me complete my Phantom Menace lightsaber collection, so I just had to have it, and it's fine with me. I wanted it, so I got it. Now, normally I get all my 89 lightsabers from Korbanth, and I always come empty, but I wanted one that was installed. CCsabers is now an authorized dealer for 89 Sabers lightsabers. Now, this wasn't installed by CCsabers. This was actually installed by 89 Sabers. This is the first time I ever got one from 89 Sabers. I heard about a couple issues with it, and I actually got to see it for myself. It's not the greatest, especially the config file, and just the way they kind of put it all together. It's weird. We'll get to it, but it's kind of weird. All right, you guys, so let's take a closer look at the lightsaber. It does have a red activation button like it did in the Phantom Menace, just like Qui-Gon's and Darth Maul's. On the right side of it, there is the aux button. It's a gold aux button, knurled, and it does have a clear little crystal in there. That crystal is supposed to be purple for it to be accurate to Phantom Menace, but again, the accuracy of the saber isn't 100% there, but it's pretty close. It's nice because it's clear, and it does act as a accent LED. So there is an LED on the chassis that lights up and it makes it look nice. So for blue, it's gonna light up blue. Red, it's gonna light up red. Now, on the bottom of the pommel, you don't see any vents. You don't see any sound ventilation in there. It's because it's actually hidden in between. It's very hard to see. Once you unscrew the bottom, you actually do see that it is hidden quite well. You would think that because it's so hidden that it would cause it to be so muffled. It's not. It actually sounds pretty damn good. Now, back to the very top, there is a retention screw located at the very top for you to keep that blade in there for you so it doesn't go fly and go hit your mom or your kids or whoever. You just don't want that to happen. There is a blade plug located on top, and it is gold, and it's kind of strange that it's gold. I thought it would have been silver to match the rest of it. I don't know personally if that's actually accurate. It is nice. It is a nice little touch, but personally I would have preferred it to be silver just to match the rest of the hilt, but it's totally fine. I've gotten used to it, and after a while it actually looks pretty nice. It makes it look a little more elegant. Now, when it comes to the chassis, this is probably my biggest complaint about the design of this hilt, and not even the hilt, it's just the chassis system 89 Sabers went with. Here is the chassis itself. It does say 89 Sabers. There is an activation button, aux button. They are illuminated, and it does come with a kill switch. Now, the one thing you guys need to know about this saber is it does come with a battery, but it's 18650 battery, but it is an unprotected battery. And that's a big difference because the protected battery is slightly bigger, and you don't want to put that in here because I've seen people on Facebook who ordered from CCsabers and it damaged their chassis, damaged the board. So you want to make sure it's an 18650 unprotected battery for it to fit in correctly. Because it's unprotected, I do keep it out of the chassis when I'm not using it. Well, actually all of them I do it, but just for safety, I do not keep the battery in there. The chassis is running a Profi board, and the Profi board is running 6.9. And again, there are some issues with the config file. I have to go in there and change a whole bunch. I already did that, but I put that on a separate SD card. I kind of want to show you guys what you get out of the box. So when putting the 18650 unprotected battery, you're going to put it right in, and it's going to pop right into place. After that, you want to hit the kill switch.
You were right about one thing, Master. The negotiations were short.
There, so you see how it just activated on its own. It's something within the config file that does that. It is very frustrating because all you want to do is just turn it on and boom, it turns on. It could be the sensitivity settings in the Profi board when it comes to either swing or twist on, or even just stab. It's very frustrating, but if you don't know about Profi boards, if you don't know about coding, this is probably not the saber for you because it's going to be very frustrating, and if you don't know how to do it, you're just not going to be able to fix it. You're going to have to ask someone to help. There are some people out there willing to help you, And I personally, I'd love to help you guys. So if you have any questions, just please let me know. I'll help you guys out. But it is very, very frustrating. So if you don't know anything about Profi, this is probably not going to be the setup for you. If there is a CFX option, go with CFX. But unfortunately, this is the one route I would not go. On the top, it does have a connection here that goes into the Saber. It doesn't use a traditional PCB. Now, the one thing about this that's frustrating is getting it in to make that connection. Now, it does make the connection much more secure, but to get it in there and pop it in, very, very frustrating. Once you turn it on, just like that, super, super sensitive, very, very frustrating. One thing you guys do need to know is that 89Sabers does ship it out with a cheap micro SD card. What I did was I upgraded it and I actually got one from SanDisk, just transferred everything over and everything was perfectly fine. But the one thing I recommend is upgrading the micro SD card. All right, so to get the chassis into the Saber is such a pain in the butt, and I hate doing this. And I have to say that this is the Saber I actually pick up the least due to the fact of the chassis and just how it goes in. It's really, really dumb. There were no grooves in the hilt. There are also no grooves on the chassis for it to fit straight in. So you're gonna have to like eyeball it. So here's what I do is I take the cover tech and I have it faced up. You're gonna have the kill switch facing up, and then you're gonna have it lined up with the actual cover tech. You're gonna line that up with the activation and the aux button along with a little hole that you can put something in case the battery doesn't come out. Don't be a sicko. And you're gonna go ahead and push and push, push slowly. Line up the 89Sabers all the way through, and it should go right in. There we go, and we got it. Luckily, we got it. Normally, it takes quite a few tries. After doing that, it's as simple as putting the pommel right back on. All right, so after putting the pommel, it's easy as turning on the activation button to make sure everything is working. Smooth swings working great. Aux button working great. So all you're gonna do is press it, get black to deflex, lock up, hold aux, and it works great. The thing about the Saber is it works great when it wants to, but it's just the way 89Sabers did it with the configuration, with the chassis. It's kind of a pain in the ass. And to be honest, it's as much as I love the hilt, it's become one of my least favorites due to the fact of how 89Sabers did it. This will probably be the last time I get an 89Sabers installed Saber. It's just frustrating, unfortunately. Now, to insert the blade, there is the retention screw right at the very top. 89Sabers do provide you with the hex key that they do for all their Sabers, which is nice. The blade plug does come out. After taking the blade plug out, you will fit the blade in there. Now, the dimensions of the inside of the Saber is supposed to be 1 inch to fit a 1-inch blade, but 89Sabers tends to have theirs super, super tight. It's like 0.99 and 0.98, and it's very, very frustrating there too. Very tight fit. You're gonna wanna put the blade all the way in to make a connection with the pins. Don't wanna push down too far because you could damage those pins, so don't do that. And it works. After doing that, you're gonna wanna have to tighten down the blade with the hex key one more time. Don't make it super tight, just nice and snug, just because you don't wanna damage the blade with the little screw. All right, so after making sure it's nice and snug, you wanna again test to make sure it's working great. Blade is making connection, which is great. And you want to make it nice and snug, not super tight, just because if you swing it, the blade's gonna fly out and hit your mom or your kids. And you don't want to do that. You don't want to have a bad day. So very recommend that you actually make it nice and snug, not too tight, but make it nice and snug. I will go through with a couple fonts that I do have on here. I don't have a bunch. Mainly, it's just the ones for Obi-Wan Kenobi and some of the ones I actually want to have on there. Now, the majority of my fonts I do get are from Kyberphonic at kyberphonicfonts.com. Go on over there because he's always uploading every week. For the past few Saturdays, he's just been doing uploads of fonts of all the movies from the prequels, and now he's moving up. So definitely recommend going on there because you get good deals on Kyberphonic fonts. So the first font is going to be Obi-Wan Kenobi's from episode 1, which we've already heard this entire time. It does have twist off, so twist the blade, and it will turn off. Now let's see if the Saber will actually work really well. All I'm gonna do is just switch to the next font, see if it turns on by itself, because that's what it does. You're gonna have to make those changes, like I said, on the config file. There it is. See, all I did was press aux. I did that. See? See, it's still on. It does that by itself. There we go. Of course, gotta have Darth Maul in there. This is another one that I found. I think it was actually Day DeLorean. It's actually really, see, Tell him it's the config file. I'm gonna actually stop doing the fonts because you can just see right out of the box that's exactly what it does. It's the config file, and it's very, very frustrating. So once again, if you're not proficient in Profi, this is definitely not going to be the Saber for you. It is very, very frustrating. It's better for you to just get it empty and then ship it out to somebody like Jeremy at Solo Sabers, or even Tony over at Ronin Sabers to get this installed for you, just because you go through them, you're gonna have a much better experience. This is literally right out of the box of how you get it. It's very, very frustrating. If you are proficient in Profi, definitely the first thing you want to do, take the SD card out, and as long as it has a config file on there, you make the changes you need to make. If it doesn't have the config file on there, reach out to Carl over at CCsabers, and he did send me a link to where I can download that config file, because this is ridiculous. It's crazy just how just it came out, and I want to love this Saber, and I do now just because I've made those changes, but definitely would recommend that you guys just get it empty and just ship it out to someone to get it installed. Again, you're gonna have a much better experience with this Saber than I did. It's very unfortunate because it's a great Saber. It looks beautiful, it looks great, but unfortunately, out of the box, it comes out like that. All right, guys, so the final thoughts of 89 OWK1 from 89 Sabers. Yeah, it's a really nice lightsaber. It's a beautiful lightsaber. Not 100% accurate, but it's a great lightsaber. And I wish I can say that I could recommend this to you guys, and really, I can't say I do unless you are proficient in Profi and you can make those adjustments yourself. It's totally worth it. But if you're not proficient, definitely do not go that route. It's not CCsabers' fault. It's not his. It's not Carl's. He didn't do anything wrong. It's just the way that 89 Sabers do their installs. The quality of the chassis and the material is really, really nice. The buttons are nice. It's very responsive. The kill switch is great. The idea of putting an unprotected 18650 battery is not ideal. Personally, I don't like that idea. I have a bunch of 18650 batteries for all my hilts, and for me to be able to switch it is great, but for me to have just one battery, it kind of sucks. And that's the one thing about the chassis I do not like. And then also when it comes to connecting it into the lightsaber, I wish 89 Sabers made maybe like a groove inside the hilt along with the chassis to where it slides perfectly in, and you wouldn't have that issue. But unfortunately, you're gonna have that issue, and that's why this is the one hilt I do not pick up often, which is very, very unfortunate. All right, you guys, if you guys aren't already subscribed to the channel, please subscribe. It really helps me out. It takes 2 seconds. It's located right down there. It really, really helps me out. The channel is on its way to 1,000 subscribers, and it's super crazy to think that we're almost to 1,000. So with that being said, you guys, I hope you guys have a great day. May the force be with you.